Okay, so now we're going to talk about uh, actually using all of this in a practical situation. We're going to pull down an image from a remote location on the internet. And of course, this takes time, right? So we aren't kind of creating a dummy situation. This is a real situation where it's going to take maybe a second and a half for the image to download. So let's go ahead and let's do this. I'm going to do this the UI kit way. Of course, you can use Combine and, you know, you can adhere to MVVM. That's a whole different video. I do touch up on that in other videos, so you have to check in my resources. But for now, this is just UI kit. And we're just gonna have a basic function that calls it. So we have func. I have a func called func download image. And of course, right, you have this, and we're going to say completion escaping, and we want an image right of type UI image. Of course, I want you to remember I'm not going to do things like this in a real world situation. This is just to demonstrate GCD and running things on the main queue versus um, some other quality of service queue. Okay, because you're going to have to do this in a lot. So this is what we return right here, an image, and I'm going to take all of this, and what I want to do is I want to put all this work on a background queue. But for now, let's just say for argument's sake, this goes on, we're going to put this on the main queue, right? Right, because our image is going to be rendered in the UI. Dispatch queue dot main dot async, right? Now our code goes here, okay? Let me do something because I have to get the URL for our image. Let me just see this. I should have done this already, actually. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to say, let's say guardlet. Well, I'm getting the URL, right? Which means I have to create a URL object, right? Guardlet URL string, and v, okay, else, completion nil, fatal error. I was going to call it invalid URL. Again, if you're confused about anything that I'm doing as far as using guardlet statements, I have tons of tutorials that discuss this. So right now it says nil is incompatible with type UI image. That's because it should be optional, right? Again, I go over this. So now it shouldn't be incompatible, but whatever. Yeah, there you go. See, and now what I need to do is, again, I would usually take a URL session and do this, but I'm not going to do that because I want to keep it simple. and I don't want to talk about URL session. I want to talk about GCD data, contents of URL, else, fatal error. I'm gonna say no image data, no image data, and fatal. Let's see, completion. Where is my So completion should be nil. Completion is nil. Okay, and then to simulate, so it doesn't, so it's not too fast. I'm gonna say sleep. This will slow it down. This will add 4 seconds onto the downloading of the image, okay? After this, you should have guard, let, image equal UI image, data, image data, else, again, completion. This is nil, right? Fatal error. Could not create image. I'm gonna say no image. And I am here, but now I have my image. If all of this works, and I should say completion, image, right? And that should be everything, right? We'll see. So again, this is where our image should be on the main queue. And guess what? Dispatch main.a.sync. Well, that's wrong. Async, right? That's what you always do. Dispatch.main.async. Sync is on the main queue is unnecessary. Why? Because the main queue is already serial. It's already only one at a time. This dispatch queue will be blocked until each one of these are done. Right? And then this comes, which may lead to problems with our first thing. Okay. So now we have this, right? So now we want to set the image for here. And we'll do like this. We'll say download image, right? Completion. Now we have our image, right? And since we're inside of a closure, to access our class property image view, we have to say self dot image view dot image equals image. Now let's run it. Okay. Now let's of course, we can change the color. That works. Let's download an image. Okay. Yes, that worked. But technically, yes, this is the error it was supposed to throw some kind of error. Why? Because even though it worked, it's risky. Because this process right here, transforming the data into or the URL into image data, may take too long and it will block the main queue. Causing this to not work well. Let's do this one more time because I think that, and I'm going to say 6 to basically demonstrate this. Okay, sorry. Okay. I'm going to do download image. And as you see, our image view is unresponsive to color changes because it's blocked. Now, it's not, it is responsive. That's bad. This is bad performance, right? Why? Because all of this is on the main queue. It runs one operation at a time. So this has to happen first, and this has to happen first, and this has to happen, then this happens next. If one holds up, the entire main queue, the entire main queue is backed up. It's blocked. That's what they mean when they say blocking the main queue, and that leads to bad performance and even fatal errors. So what we want to do is we want to remove all of this to more of a background, right? So one option that we have is we can do this. You can say dispatch queue dot global quality of service. Okay. I suppose it's QU or QoS dot. Give me a second. So probably the most appropriate would be user interactive. Again, that will be used for animations and things that respond, okay, to you. Dot async, ASYNC. Okay, now we have that, right? So we have this. Now let's go ahead and run. But of course, there is another problem. And hopefully you should be able to guess before I even start. If you don't, I'll explain it. So you see that goes away, color changed, but now when I download the image, it should be blocked. It's not, right? But now we have an error. Our image never shows up. What is going on, you may ask, right? This UI image view must be used on the main thread only. So we're updating your image view, right? This is the UI. Updating this must be done on the main thread. While we're doing all this other stuff in the background, how are we going to update this on the main thread? Let's go ahead and stop, go back here, and simply, you either do it here or do it here. I prefer to do it here all in one space. Okay? What? Dispatch queue dot main dot async, right? Now we are returning this on the main thread. Okay? So now when we do this, we should not have anything blocked. Okay? Just double checking, make sure I'm recording. Okay, so now background color, it's working. Now let's download the image. Still not blocked. Okay. And the image is there with no errors. Okay. So hopefully that demonstrated. Again, let's go back and we're doing things that we get images that will update our UI. We do this on the user interactive. Okay. We get our URL, we get our data, all this on the user interactive. It takes 6 seconds. We get our image. But then once we get our image, that has to be put on the main queue. And then we update our UI. Okay. So I hope that makes sense. I have the complete tutorial For download, all you have to do is download this and play with it. And on to the next.